what is your view and coming from an engineering training? I'm a firm believer in a process, and I think process gets us farther than any spark will. How do you parse this?
It's a very interesting mix of creativity and process. So the process-based thinking, the moment you can thin slice, your communication improves drastically. The clarity in the communication makes a lot of space for creativity, I feel, especially in our field. So if I put it in the whole process, the writer writes the story. The first thought largely comes in writer's mind. He writes the story and the character. Then the first handoff happens. The story goes to the director. If the writer and director is the same person, it's a different story, which doesn't happen every time. Yeah. But if the director is somebody else, then the first handoff happens. Now there is a huge possibility of loss in this transmission because here the brains are changing.
You are only relying on the written
words.
And that's not enough.
That's not enough because you are not able, you are not reading, there is nothing between the lines, right? Now, director's brain has processed, visualized. And the last person to join in is an actor, largely. So now I get the download from director's brain. I understand my job as an actor is to go to the first thought, as close as possible to the first thought, and then create those emotions. Now, this is the process part of it. How I reach, how I do it, how I perform, is when my intuition plays the role, is when my training plays the role. And as I was saying, that you've practiced it so many times, so that all the body parts, all the muscles, all the nerves knows the address of that emotion. Now, how I maneuver and how I reach those emotions multiple times differently is the key. So if I've practiced enough, then I can be and leave it to my intuition. That, okay, now let's just create a magic in that moment. Because at that time, so many things are feeding into you. The set, the actor, the costume, the props. Of course, you have dialogues and everything. But so the magic can happen, and all these things can help you create a magic if the process part is correct.
Which happened off camera.
Which happens off camera. And I'm not saying that this is the only way to work, but this helps me. Thin slice, understand, put it in perspective. And every time I perform, so there are two people in me, right? One is a character who's not supposed to be bothered about whereabouts and everything else. He's supposed to be just creating those emotions and making that world alive for the audience. The real me, the person in me, the Pratik Gandhi, is supposed to be aware about the world around me. Where is the light? Where is the camera? If I have to pick up this cup, is it in my minimum reach of my hand? Because the dialogue and the emotion doesn't allow me to do this. If I'm supposed to do this, so is it okay or no? If the light is about to fall from here, I know as a person, I have to feed into the character in me and then maneuver around. So these things are, if you thin slice, it's a process.
Yeah.
But at one point, it has to amalgamate as one.
Yeah.
And it becomes one. That's when the magic happens for the audience.